Buddy, we are back at Yeah Boy Fishing. We are here to do part two of Dane's top 10 best fishing catches ever. Are you ready, Dane?
Yes, these are the tippy top ones, top five. Yeah, some really good catches in there that are very memorable for me.
Starting off with our top five. What is number five, sir?
Okay, so number five takes me back to when I was 13. We go back to the Bowen Fishing Classic, which was a staple in Bowen every September school holidays. First weekend of school holidays was the Bowen Fishing Classic. For a long time was actually the largest family fishing classic in, I think, Queensland.
Top event.
Yeah, it was a huge event, like family friendly. Everyone got involved. It was great. So Dad and I decided to go up the creek. We're up the creek, and so we're out there we're fishing, and we just finished putting some crab pots in, and we thought we'll troll the lure around the corner of this little sand spit, which leads sort of, there's a sand spit, and then it sort of drops into a big hole, and oftentimes we've caught some decent fish out of this hole.
Is this Stewart Creek?
Oh yeah, so this is Stewart Creek. So Stewart Creek's just north of Bowen. Apologies. Fantastic creek. You would know, we actually grew up fishing this creek a long time. Unfortunately, we are unable to get in there anymore because you've got to go through a property to get into it. You can get to it via ocean, but a lot of those creeks, the closer creeks to get there via ocean, you also need a key and you go through a property. So unfortunately, Dad and I haven't been up that creek for a very long time. I sometimes look at it on Google Maps like, wow, I can't reach. So,
a lot of memories from that creek. Fishing and camping.
Yes. So anyway, so we're going around the spit. We're dragging the lure around. This is day one of the Bowen Fishing Classic. We're all pumped. We're excited. And there's this big strike on the lure. I'm like, I feel it. And I watch the barramundi come out of the water going this way, and my lure going that way into the depth. So key part of this story is I had never caught a legal barramundi in my life at that point, and I was particularly. So we fished that same spot for I don't know how many hours. Did not get it. Fast forward a week in advance, Dad and I were going on a camping trip, which we did every school holidays. Same creek, same thing happened. We put the pots in. We thought, we'll drag around that sand spit again. So same lure, little blue Predatech lure, probably about 10 centimeters long. And as we sort of dragging around it, I feel the rod get a hit. And again. And I said, Dad, just keep going. It must be a trevally, and it just keeps striking the lure. And then finally, bang. And the barramundi comes out of the water. And this time it's hooked up. It's still on. And my first ever barramundi, I think it was about 65 to 70 centimeters. There is a photo somewhere in the abyss of our shoeboxes full of photos. Yeah, one fun thing though, I still do remember I was able to get a scale off it. Same as you mentioned when you caught your first barramundi. So I've still got my very first barramundi scale there. Very cool memory. And yeah, I will always remember that as one of my top ever catches. Yeah,
very cool. First barramundi ever. That's a pretty good number 5. So let's get into number 4.
All right. So number 4, a couple of years down the line, we revisit the Bowen Fishing Classic. So to have a bit more detail on the Bowen Fishing Classic, it's sort of a 3-day event. You start fishing Friday afternoon. Then you fish all day Saturday. There is a small weigh-in window on the Saturday, but typically everyone weighs their fish in between 11 and 3, I think it used to be, on the Sunday, and then the presentations are that afternoon. So fast forward, so we fished the first 2 days, hadn't caught many fish. Well, we actually caught a reasonable amount of fish, but nothing of substantialness to weigh in or anything. So we thought, hey, look, the weather's really good on Sunday, so let's just go out and we'll just enjoy ourselves out in the water. So we head towards Gloucester Island. We're fishing the Barattas reef out the front again. Same place where where I got my big gold spot. And we decide we've got our little creek rods. We're throw them out with just a little floating pilchard on a gang just to try and get some doggy mackerel. And Dad first off caught this monster golden trevally, which was about 7.5 or something kilos. And it was like a fantastic catch. And we're like, oh, okay. So we thought, you know what, we could weigh that in, so we'll keep it. They're not really a great eating fish, but thankfully, the Bowen Fishing Classic, you have the opportunity to donate your fish, and all the fish, they go to Meals on Wheels, which is actually really cool. So, so we kept sitting there. My pilchard's out there floating, probably a meter or two off the surface. Out of nowhere, it's just gone right down. It's bent over. I'm like, okay. I'm fighting, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like a mackerel down. I don't know what this is. And out of nowhere, this huge coral trout came swirling up. So Dad and I like, whoa! And so this trout has swum. We're fishing at about 10 meters. So this trout swum all the way up just to hit this pilchard on this like light gear that we have, sort of thing. So I was really lucky to catch it. And just sort of an unusual sort of bycatch as it sort of. So we got it in, we landed it. It was the chunkiest, fattest trout ever. Like, I'm saying the girth on this trout was just so freaking wide. It was ridiculous. So the other thing about the Bowen Fishing Classic is you have to weigh all your fish in gutted and gilled. So you remove the gills and the guts. No idea why they did it that way, but that's just how they did it. We weighed the trout before we gutted and gilled it. It was 4.5 kilograms. After we gutted and gilled it, just to show you, just to have an idea of how fat this trout was, it lost an entire kilo and only weighed 3.5 kilograms.
Why did it even go for a pilly? It was obviously full.
Yeah, it's just a greedy little bugger. So, anyway, we made it back, and we won 2 prizes with the trevally and the coral trout. So that was actually just this awesome whirlwind of a day. And ended up really cool. I do not for the life of me remember what the prizes were. I can't remember at all. So I think one of them might have been a trip to the Orlando resort just south of Bowen. So yeah,
cool. So number 4 was an award-winning. Yeah, number 4 was an award-winning coral trout. Epic.
Correct.
So we have now hit the top 3, sir. So give us your story. What was number 3?
Okay, so growing up, this is a land-based catch. So just all catches prior to this have been boat-based. This is a land-based catch. So growing up, Dad grew up down in Brisbane. He always fished with surf rods with his brothers. He's also done trips to Fraser Island, fished with surf rods and stuff. I never used a surf rod. I was fairly young. When I say young, I'm thinking I must have been around 10 or so. Sort of they're old enough to be able to hold one, but yeah. Anyway, I begged Dad. I said, Dad, let's go, come on, please. So we've gone down to Kings Beach in Bowen, and just on I think it was a Wednesday afternoon, middle of the week. So we've just gone down there. We've got Pilly on a gang hook, and we've just hooked them out in the ocean. And so sure enough, we're just sitting there. We had 1 rod each. I was super happy. Like, we had no real high expectations or anything. But, you know, there's always a chance of catching something off Kings Beach. It's a fantastic little beach, or big beach. It's not a small beach. And sure enough, Dad's rod goes down. He picks it up. He starts winding it in. And I'm like, this is fantastic. We've caught it. We've got something. Even if it's a stingray or a shark, we've got something. And we've started to get a little bit of a crowd behind us. We had about 4 or 5 people watching us. And out of nowhere, I just hear them screaming at me. And I'm like, what? I turn around and they're like, your rod. And my rod's going down now. So I'm hooked up as well. So not only is it my first time ever throwing a surf rod and learning how to use it, I've actually got a fish on. So I'm pumped. pulling these things in. We're pulling them in as they're getting into sort of like a meteor depth sort of thing. As they're getting closer, they're sort of thrashing in the water, like their tails sort of thing. And I was like adamant. I was like, oh, it's a shark. It's a shark. It's devastating. Dad gets his all the way in. I'm still fighting with mine, so I'm not really sort of paying attention to what's happening to Dad's. But his gets it right to the shoreline, and the line breaks. And then he realizes it's not a shark, it's a cobia or a black king, which is like an amazing eating fish. So Dad's basically thrown his rod down and just dived in the shallow waters to grab his cobia.
Like,
because it's just
full body dived.
Yeah, he's just like, just about like rugby leagues, just tackling this fish to get it onto the land.
Body slam to cobia.
So I'm still fighting mine under the impression it's I've got a shark. I'd never caught a cobia before. I never really knew what a cobia was, even sort of thing. So I'm still like a bit like thinking I've got a shark. And then Dad's like, it's a kingfish. It's a black king. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then sure enough, I get mine as well. And I find out later just how cool of a fish that is, sort of thing. And we also found out later, apparently they do travel in pairs often, which is why we probably caught the two of them. They would have been traveling in a pair, and we picked them both up. But just such an awesome catch. It was like right on dark. So we ended up, Dad's like, that's it, let's go. So we packed up and we drive straight to Alan King's place, which at the time was his business partner. But
also
he gets it out of his
avid fisherman.
Yes, and an avid fisherman, and my godfather and everything. So, and sure enough, we get him out, and Dad pours these two big black king, which were out of the tray of the truck, and shows them off. And it's just, it was a pretty cool experience. So, from memory, they were 9.5 and 9.25 kilos each, sort of thing. So there's a photo of me trying to hold both of them up, like, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so that was a really cool experience. Multiple reasons. First catch, different style of fishing, different technique, and yeah, it was just really, really cool memory.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. All right. So that was number 3. So we are down to your top 2. So please tell us, what was number 2?
All right. So number 2, I must have been 21 or 22, around there.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry Stone has given Dad a call and said, I'm going out to the reef tomorrow. Did you want to come? And I'm in the background. Terry didn't know I was back in town at the time. And I'm in the background hearing it going, say yes and let me come. Because I'd never been to the reef before. Like, I'd fished in the reef, but I've never been all the way to the Great Barrier Reef to fish it and everything. So I was very, very excited, sort of thing. So sure enough, they allowed me to, Terry is more than happy to have me come on board. So, so we're on his boat Chemistry, which just recently is sold, actually. I just found out. So, great memories still on this boat. Gone out to Old Reef off Bowen. We're fishing with handlers. We're fishing about 40 meters. Everyone's catching some nice fish. We had a good number of trout coming on board and everything. I'd caught a trout and sort of thing, but a bit quiet for me. I was like, but I was still having a great time. And so the handline I was using had line unjoined knot sort of thing, just to make sure the line had plenty available on it for you to fish deep water and stuff like that. So right around when I was on the bottom, the join knot was pretty much there. So I had an idea when I'm on the join knot, I'm like, oh, there it is. I'm on the bottom. Perfect. Out of nowhere, I just had a little piece of squid on, 7/0 hook, and I'm on. And this thing is running, and the line is peeling out of my hands, and I'm just holding it. And everyone's giving me flack. I'm getting heckled from all sides of the boat, which is what you do, sort of thing. So
expected.
Yeah. So I'm fighting away, and I've been fighting it for a while, about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm fighting it. And Dad comes over to sort of see sort of where I'm at. He realizes I'm just getting back to the knot, so I'm back to where I started. He's like, "Oh, geez," and you're in it. So I continue to fight this thing. I've got it well and truly turned. It's on its way up. it's got to the point where my hands are sort of greasy. I'm doing the one thing you do not do in hand lining, and I'm sort of wrapping the line on my hands, which is a bit of a no-no, but I've got away with it. And as we get it coming up, we could just see this image in the water, sort of thing, like the silhouette of it, and it was big. And we're like, what is this? Because it didn't look like a cod, wasn't a trout, it didn't look like a mackerel, didn't look like a shark, and we couldn't figure it out. And then as it comes up, it is this beautiful hump-headed Murray wrasse. And it was the most pretty, if you've ever seen one before, they are just a gorgeous fish. They are just bright blue, just mammoth animals, and are just amazing. Apparently they are incredible eating. However, they are now a no-take species. They've been a no-take species for a fair while. I've never caught one or been there when they were still keepable. Dad has, and he said they are fantastic eating. But so we ended up getting it in. We gaffed it just in the jaw, just underneath it, sort of thing, not fully piercing it, sort of thing. Just that way, we're not harming the fish too much. Had a quick moment to get it on board. Now I did have some amazing footage of this on my old camcorder, which had cassettes still. And but
I've seen this footage. I remember watching it.
Yeah, because I was so pumped with it and everything. But so it got stored in Bowen, and then we had a cyclone come through, and it flooded the box that it was in, and it's cactus now. So, but sad. I do remember I picked this wrasse up, like, to lift it up to show the camera, sort of thing, and I'm 179 centimeters tall. The mouth of it was just at my chin, and the tail was on the ground, sort of thing. So it was a good size. It was a big fella. Yeah, so that was really
huge.
Cool. I managed to, before we released it, take a scale off it even.
Oh my gosh.
Is one of my prized possessions. This absolutely disgusts the hell out of Bridie, my wife. But yeah, so just to give you an idea, that's the barramundi scale next to it.
Is it because you keep it? Is it disgusting because you keep it beside the bed?
It's under my pillow at all times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
so
incredible.
Just to get
it looks like a dinosaur scale. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, just an amazing animal. When we released it, it just sort of started to float off at the start, and we're like, because you don't want to kill such a beautiful animal, and I do not like killing fish for no reason, sort of thing. And but thankfully, it sort of turned, started to swim, and we could see its bubbles released from the sort of thing, and it swam off, thank God. And off to live another day. But that was, that was a really, really amazing experience, like going to the reef and all that, but also catching that. I never caught one before. It was huge. Just an amazing experience. Like, funnily enough, just to add to that story, I was when I was doing this top 10 list, I was just thinking of the fish before I sort of, this was like number 8 on my list in regards to the ones I remembered. I nearly forgot about it. And it is like one of my most cool memories. But yeah, that's number, that's definitely up there, number 2.
Number 2. Hell of a fight too. Wow. On the hand line. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And then everyone said, now Dane, go pull the anchor up. And I was like,
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, so many different species as well, but we are down to it. We're at number 1. What is your best ever fishing catch? Drum roll.
All right. So, growing up in Bowen, you can, but we never really ever tried to chase any big game fish. Like, and when I say game fish, I'm talking about like your billfish, your tuna, your mahi sort of thing. Like, you can definitely catch these things out further. We just never had the boat for it. We never had that sort of thing. Dad never had that upbringing or anything like that. So it was never really in my repertoire or even in my mind. Like, I'd watch a fishing show, and if they were catching billfish, I'd be like, meh, don't need to watch this sort of thing. Like, fast forward, and just a few years ago, I moved and lived over in Karratha in WA. And a couple of my good mates there, Josh Townsend and Matthew Pointer, started getting me into bill fishing, because you only had to go a short distance out to sea off Dampier, and you're in the grounds for sailfish. So I thought, this is crazy. I've never done this before, sort of thing. So I had caught one prior with a buddy of mine that was purely luck and stuff like that. I'd done a few trips with them and sort of learned what you need to do, like with your teasers and the rigging and how you present the bait and the knots and all sorts of different techniques, and so many different aspects to it, and it's a very patient, time-consuming way to catch fish, but such a cool feeling when you do get one, sort of thing. So I'd been doing it for a while, but I'd never done it on my own, and I've been told it's such a cool experience to catch one on your own, sort of thing, and I was like, I could do that. So I've gone out on my own. I've rigged up a gar. You know, with the rig, essentially what I've done was just a gar. You stitch it with like a wax string. You stitch the gills and the mouth shut. That way, when it's going through the water isn't going into its mouth and making it sort of float everywhere. You want it to sort of try and stay steady. Put a skirt over the top of that. And then with the remaining wax string, you're just tying it to your hook. So in this case, I'm using a circle hook. So the circle hook's design is for the fish so they can take the entire bait and hook it into its mouth. But then the hook comes out and sets itself in like the corner of the jaw of the fish. So it's, basically any fisherman will know, once you've got a fish hooked in the jaw, it's a much stronger hookup and a much better chance of getting the fish. So rigged up, I've got my two TLD 15s out there. So TLD 15 Shimano's like a lever drag reel. I've got it just pulled up enough drag so it just sort of sits there. So if I pull on the line goes out. So the whole idea is you're watching your baits, skipping along the water, and you've got to watch them the whole time. It's not one of those times where you just sort of sit there and hope it's going to go off something. You've got to be paying attention. And if you see them get bitten, you've got to feed the line to them. So I'm watching them. Sure enough, I see my bait skipping along, and all you see is this out of the water is like the bill of the fish just come up, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually happening. I was like, I've been trolling for ages. I was just about to give up. Anyway, so I'll let the line out. I'll quickly reel the other reel in. I'm still traveling, and I've pulled back the line, and it didn't hook up. And I was like, after all that, I missed it. So winding the line in, and then I looked down at the reel, and there's a little bubble, like a knot in the line, on the spool. So I've gone, let it out. I'll let the line back out to get rid of this little knot. Let the line back out, flick the lever back on to wind it back in to check the bait. And the sails come back and hit the bait again, but this time it's hooked. So I'm on, and I'm freaking out, and like I've got amazing footage of this where I'm sounding like an idiot going, "Solo sail, baby! Solo sail, baby!" So everything's coming together, sort of thing. So there's one shot of me, and I'm winding as fast as I can, and my whole body is shaking while I'm trying to wind it in because it's swimming straight at the boat. I was talking to my friends later on, and I since found out I should have never put myself into neutral. I should have continued driving. That way you keep the pressure on the fish, so there's not a chance for it to throw the hook.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I continued to fight it or get it to the side of the boat. It wasn't a monster sailfish. I think it was mouth to tail was about 120 centimeters. I didn't pull it out of the water, but I had a gauge on my boat, sort of thing, so I could get an idea of how long each fish is. But yeah, so I had that. Was able to get the hook out of its mouth. We have a quick holding its bill in the water, and yeah, didn't want to drag it on the board unnecessarily. I could have to take a photo and stuff, but it's better for the fish to stay in the water if you can. And so managed to drive along, release him. He swam off happily, but that was just such an epic day for me. Like, it was all on my own. I put all my practice, all different techniques that I'd learned sort of thing, and it worked. And I mean, by all means, if you ever watch that video sort of thing, I think you've got a bit here sort of thing. I am not a professional bill fisherman, and anyone who's caught that wasn't a pretty way to pull a billfish in, but it worked and I got it. And yeah, it's a pretty epic catch for me. I was very happy with that one. So yeah, that's number one for
really
me.
cool.
Always a cool
Number
memory.
one.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
That's only recent as well. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, nah. And where were you for that one again?
That was off Dampier, so which is just sort of thing. So when I was over and living in WA about 4 years ago now. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, there are billfish grounds off here, but it's a fair way out, and I just sometimes I'm like, it's really good weather. Maybe I'll go out there, and then I'm like, but I can catch coral trout right there at that island. That's only a little way away. So,
yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, that was part 2. That was your top 5, essentially.
Yeah.
Best fishing catches ever. Thank you very much for sharing them with us.
No problem. That was a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yeah, very cool. All right. We'll see you for the next installment of Yeah Boy Fishing.
Sounds great. Thanks, Kimbo.